New York, Boston, Yankees, Red Sox, the greatest sports rivalry ever known. The rivalry began on December 26, 1919, when Boston traded Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees for a total of $100,000. Ruth, who was an all-star, would go on to play 15 years with the Yankees, winning 7 AL pennants as well as 4 world titles. In 1927, he would belt 60 home runs, setting a single-season home run record. He would end his illustrious Hall of Fame career with a total of 714. As for Boston, following the trade, they would suffer under the curse of the Great Bambino, an 86-year drought without a World Series championship. In 1961, the Yankees had 2 legends battling for history, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. Both were chasing the record Babe Ruth set in 1927. Mickey Mantle would get hurt late in the year, leaving Roger Maris as the only one left. On the last game of the season, against Boston, ironic, isn't it? Roger Maris would hit the 61st home run of the season, breaking Ruth's record, while the
Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow!
while the Yankees would go on to win the World Series that season, which would become the franchise's 19th. Boston would endure their 7th straight losing season. However, in 1967, it was the Red Sox, on the back of Carl Yastrzemski, who would win an AL pennant for the first time since 1946. But as the curse goes, they had to lose the World Series in a heartbreaking fashion. In 1975, the Red Sox once again would win the pennant and look to break the curse of the Bambino. This time, they'd be playing the Big Red Machine, Cincinnati Reds. As the curse foretells, they would lose the World Series. The following season, the Yankees would run into the same Big Red Machine, where they would also lose the World Series. In 1978, the Red Sox, who were looking primed for another World Series of the decade, led the Yankees in the standings by 14 games around mid-July. The Red Sox would begin to collapse just as the Yankees turned their season around, and just in time for a 4-game series at Fenway Park in Boston. The series would be known as the Boston Massacre, as the New York Yankees would combine to beat Boston by a total score of 42-9. The Red Sox would win 12 out of the 14 to end the year, tying the Yankees for first place. A rare tiebreaker game was scheduled back in Boston to determine who would win the AL East and the AL pennant. Winning 2-0 in the top of the 7th, Boston would see light-hitting Yankee shortstop Bucky Dent blast a 2-out, 3-run shot over the Fenway Park's Green Monster. One of the hardest things to do in baseball, one of the rarest feats, and the Yankees now led 3-2. It was only his 5th home run of the season, and it became one of the most memorable in baseball. The Yankees would go hold on and win the game 5-4. The 1980s are the only decade in which neither the Yankees or the Red Sox won a world title. Although both teams went to the World Series during the decade, neither team was good enough to win. The Yankees lost to the LA Dodgers in 1981, where the Red Sox lost in a heartbreaking fashion in 1986 to the Mets.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
1986 was the Red Sox's closest chance to breaking the World Series drought during the decade. And for the Yankees, the 80s marked a dark time as they wouldn't be able to turn it around until 1995. The early 90s were not kind to the Yankees or the Red Sox. The Yankees, however, in 1996, would turn things around. The season after, franchise great Don Mattingly called it a career, they won the World Series. And then they would do so again in 1998, 1999, and 2000. In 2003, Boston and the Yankees would play in the ALCS for a trip to the World Series. Boston would be down 3-0, but come back and force a Game 7. However, Aaron Boone would hit a walk-off home run, sending the Yankees to the 2003 World Series. The Yankees, however, would lose the World Series to the Florida Marlins. the comeback. In 2004, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees once again played in the ALCS with a trip to the World Series on the line. And once again, the New York Yankees took a 3-0 series lead quickly. However, Boston, again, would come back from 3-0, forcing Game 7 at Yankee Stadium. This time, the result was different. The Red Sox would beat the Yankees and make the World Series. Boston would win the World Series in a 4-game sweep, their first in 86 years.